Hello everybody. Tuesday, October 31st, Halloween. Happy Halloween. So this is going to be just a recap. 2023 Rogue Invitational just went down. Just got back home yesterday. Got myself some sleep. I'm feeling somewhat normal again to some degree. And this is going to be in no particular order, just a stream of consciousness because so much went down in the last week or so. So, okay, let's see. 2023 Rogue Invitational. First of all, met tons of people, period, end of story. But I met a ton of Linchpin people from all over the world in real life. It was super cool. We found each other on the broadcast set, wandering just around the venue, got a ton of photos. It was awesome. Jenny, you're one of the key people in organizing that. Many thanks. And I've got the photo that you took, and I'll probably try to get that on my Instagram today. It was just awesome. We snapped a really cool photo of everybody in front of, like, in the Rogue tent that Rogue makes, that big, like, American flag with all the plates and whatnot. Really cool backdrop. So that was really cool. Super awesome and cool. Warmed my heart. I look forward to doing that more in the future. All right, so also in no particular order, I was obviously part of the broadcast. So many thanks to Bill and Katie from Rogue, to Charlie, who runs and owns the broadcast company that does all that. Thanks to all of them for the opportunity and for, believing in me not to be a knucklehead and not mess it up too bad. So that was super cool. And I was a part of the tailgate show, so this was the first year they did that, and it was awesome. There was a free broadcast, as there always is. You could just go to YouTube and watch all the events totally for free. Nothing changed. That's awesome. But then there was some premium content that you could get, and I was hosting that show. It was called The Tailgate Show. And man, it was a lot of fun. We were there all day, I'll tell you that. Anytime there was a strongman event on, and anytime there was a CrossFit event on, we were covering it. And there was usually myself and 3 other people on the desk. And the format was basically that the event was on in the background, and if you'd paid for the premium content, on your screen you'd see the event, and then there'd be on the side small little boxes with each one of us from the desk on there. And you could also switch camera angles yourself and everything. It was really cool. But sometimes we'd be talking about the event, but sometimes we wouldn't. Like, the event's just on in the background, and we're just shooting the breeze as if we were sitting on somebody's couch watching the event ourselves, laughing, having fun. It was really awesome. And that was for all the CrossFit and all the strongman events. And also big thanks to everybody, because between those shows I might have had, like, a show ended and then the next show starting in like 7 minutes, and I would just try to sprint from the desk to a porta potty to, like, go pee real quick and then sprint back to the show because I was going to be there again for a few hours. And somebody would stop to say hi, and I would stop to say hi as well, but I'd let them know that I got a sprint. And everybody was super cool and understanding. So thank you everybody for not making me late to the next show, because when the camera clicks on, the camera's got to click on. So I appreciate that. And man, I'll tell you what, this is one of the things that I really treasure and cherish. I mean, not only was it a fantastic broadcast, but what an amazing honor and privilege it is that I get to spend literally all day with these amazing guests and just pick their brain about everything in the world. And I mean, so for example, during the men's deadlift ladder, okay, which took like 90 minutes to happen, on camera was myself, China Cho, Jason Khalipa, and Brian Shaw. China Cho, multiple year games athlete. Jason Khalipa, obviously a former champion. And then Brian Shaw, if you're unfamiliar with Brian Shaw, he's a 4-time World's Strongest Man winner. He's won the Arnold Classic a couple of times at least, if not 3. My memory's fading me right now. He runs the Shaw Classic, which he's put on and won as well. He's like 6'8", 440 pounds. He's a monster of a human being and one of the most knowledgeable strongmen walking the earth. Talk about a wealth of information about just getting absurdly strong, training, competing, the whole 9 yards. During that men's deadlift ladder, so when we were on camera for 90 minutes, I bet we watched the event or talked about the event for maybe 15 minutes. And for the other 75 minutes, we were just on the desk. I think we talked about the deadlift, all things deadlift, improving it, training it, grip, stance, position, equipment, the whole 9 yards for like 75 minutes. It was a master's class on strength and conditioning. So you should, if you have that stuff and you missed it, make sure you go back, watch those shows. You will learn so much from the best in the world. It was ridiculous. And I just sat there and just listen. I mean, who wouldn't listen to somebody like that talk about deadlifting? And you know what was really interesting? One of the things that he said, so he said with regards to like a heavy deadlift, like you're going to pull a serious, like north of 90% heavy deadlift. The frequency with which he would do that is the bare minimum amount of time he would have, like he would not want to go any shorter, he would prefer to go longer, was 14 days. 2 weeks. That was his like absolute shortest amount of time, would prefer to have longer between heavy deadlift sessions. And everything that he said with regards to that, and how just because how taxing it is on your central nervous system, you can't do something like that frequently or regularly. You're going to plateau. You're not going to make the gains. Your body's just not ready for it. It doesn't make any sense. I almost broke my neck like nodding along because it's so funny. Like I'm listening to this gentleman who's a 4-time world's strongest man winner, and everything that he's saying. Now the load on the bar might be different, right? But the general concepts and principles he was talking about strength and conditioning and rest and recovery and how frequently you can go intense and how frequently you can't and shouldn't, is everything that we say at Linchpin all the time. I was like, yes, thank you, sir. I hope everybody hears this message because I'm trying to pound this into people all the time. So long story short, it was fantastic confirmation that we're doing things right at Linchpin and we'll continue to do it. But you should go back and watch that stuff. It was phenomenal. And on top of all that, I laughed so hard so many times that I couldn't even talk. I was just crying with tears coming out of my eyes at the desk. And so this was so, how lucky I was to get to interact with all these people. So let's see, on Friday on the Tailgate Show, we had Brian Shaw, who I just said. We had Jerry Pritchett, who's another world's strongest man. I think he competed in the world's strongest man 6 times. And he at one point in time held the elephant bar deadlift record, world record. Not a bad deadlifter. Beast of a person. And it's also really nice for me as not like an overly big person to stand next to these people and I look like just a smurf. It's absolutely unbelievable. But on Friday, we had those two on. We had Matt Fraser on, Justin Medeiros, Josh Bridges, Annie Thorsdottir, Katrin Davidsdottir, Jason Kalipa, Rich Froning, Miranda was on, Annie Sakamoto, Magnus Magnuson, who is a legend, like a living, walking legend in the world of strongman, Dr. Bill Crawford, who is a walking encyclopedia of all things strongman and strength and conditioning, Martins Litzis joined us from overseas, and we had Samantha Briggs. That was just on Friday. I mean, there's just a lot of gold medals clanging around there. The knowledge of strongman, CrossFit, strength and conditioning, competing, dealing with pressure, workout strategy, the whole 9 yards. It was absolutely ridiculous. And that was just Friday. So that's one of my secret weapons, is getting to interact with all these people and hear, their different takes on things. It was fantastic. On Saturday, we had basically a lot of the same folks: Martine Litzis, Jerry Pritchett, Matt Fraser, Justin Medeiros, Josh Bridges, Annie T, Davidsdottir, Kalipa, Froning, Hathor, world's strongest man, like the Mountain from Game of Thrones. He joined us remotely as well. Brian Friend was on there. We had the Buttery Bros. Heber and Marsden were on there. It was awesome. We saw Sam Briggs again. We saw Brian Shaw again. And then finally on Sunday, I'm trying to see if we had anyone new on. We had some of the same individuals on from Froning, Kalipa, Thorsdottir, Sakamoto, Bridges, Fraser. It was absolutely awesome. And so anyway, it was a blast. I hope that you enjoyed as much as I did. I've seen a lot of CrossFit in my life, and so while I still enjoy watching it, the strongman stuff's really cool because it's new and unique and different. And since we all deadlift and squat and do things like that. It gives you such an amazing perspective. I mean, one of the strongman events, I think it was the Tower of Power. I think it was it event one? A 900-pound deadlift, 4 reps. Yeah, not for one. A 900-pound deadlift, 4 reps. That's absurd. It was amazing. And then another event that they had was they had a 360-pound log. So an odd object, not even a nice barbell, a 360-pound odd object, as many ground to overhead as you could in 90 seconds. That's right. So it's not just amazing that you can do it once, it's how many times can you do it in 90 seconds. And I believe the top gentleman for that particular deal got it from the ground to overhead 10 times in 90 seconds. 360 pounds. So it's cool. And I'll have to give Brian Shaw and Jerry Pritchett just a huge shout out. I mean, they're icons in their sport. They're the most cool, down-to-earth, humble, authentic, genuine people. I truly enjoyed talking to them, and they were so open to sharing their knowledge, and they were also very appreciative to what the CrossFit athletes were doing and how there's a commingling between these two worlds. So it was pretty awesome. Also, what I thought was cool was Josh Bridges was on the show regularly because he was intimately involved in the programming of the workouts. Him along with Chris Spieler and Katie Henniger is, critical in that. And one of the events involved a heavy back squat and muscle ups. And it was funny. I saw a lot of people commenting like, Josh liked it because it's one of the things that you don't see, like a heavy back squat in a workout or in an event. And I saw a lot of people like, we hit that at Linchpin, heavy day at a high heart rate. And I was like, yep, we most certainly do. Oh, I'll also have to say, and I said this, so I said something on, we did a morning show also to set the table for the day. And usually the morning show is myself. Sean Woodland would host the morning show, and then China Cho was on there. And that was on the just regular broadcast. And then the tailgate show was the premium content. So on one of the days, I can't remember which day it was, I said that Roman Krenikov had never beaten Jeffrey Adler in an in-person competition. That is not true. And I corrected myself, but I did it on the tailgate show. And since that's the premium content that was behind a paywall, some people might have seen me say that incorrectly in the morning show, and then not heard me later on, admit that I made a mistake there. And so if anybody can pass this on to Roman or whatever, that was incorrect. He has beaten Jeff once in an in-person competition. I believe it was overseas. I had it in my head when I corrected myself, but it's gone right now. But the overwhelming majority of the time, Jeff does get the better of him in in-person competition. Let's see. My nutrition was okay. It was okay. Sometimes when you're working long days in like a high stress live broadcast sort of environment, you can just eat your troubles away and eat your stress away. I did a little bit of that. Time to tighten up the diet again. The weather was crazy. There was some like torrential downpours happening in Texas. I mean, I live in Washington State where it rains all the time for months and months and months. But it's like a light to we get heavy rain every now and then, but it can be a moderate rain here for a lot longer than you want. Some of the rain that came down in Texas was, you need to pull your car over on the side of the road because it's raining so hard. Even though you have your windshield wipers maxed out, you cannot see the road ahead of you. That's the sort of rain that we were dealing with. And everyone working the event, the road crew, just worked magic to shift, modify, change whatever they needed to do to make it happen. And so everybody didn't see it, but I mean, there was a lot of people busting their tail to make this thing happen. It was pretty cool. In the hotel gym had a set of dumbbells, it had a treadmill, and what more do you need? So I got in last Wednesday, and my general protocol is before I can ever talk myself out of it, just get in a workout. Don't think about it. Don't do whatever. If you have to just change into a different shorts or shoes, do it and then walk into the hotel gym. Don't do anything else. Don't unpack. Don't get cozy. The more cozy you get, the easier it's going to be to not get in a workout. So Wednesday, as soon as I landed, walked into the hotel gym, got in a workout. Thursday, we were on site all day long doing rehearsals, sound checks. That's just an all day sort of thing, prepping for what's going to come up so we can put on a good production. Got back to the hotel late that night, don't think about it, workout. Friday, long day at the venue. As soon as I get back to the hotel, workout. And that put me 5 days in a row. I worked out Monday through Friday because I had a feeling the weekend would be bonkers and I would get screwed over. And that's precisely what happened. Saturday was a historically long day, from like how early we showed up to how late it was when we get back to the hotel. But luckily, I didn't have to worry about working out. So that was great. And so anyway, Sunday was the same. And I'm looking forward to getting back into some fitness today. So I think that's about my recap from the Rogue Invitational. Let me just do a quick look right now at like the leaderboard and the events and see if anything sparks in my mind. Oh, okay, yeah, I should say this. So I should also say, let me move this over here. I liked a lot of the events, but I really liked event number 1, the Texas Heavy. I thought that was unique and absurd and borderline obnoxious, which made me happy. And that was, if you're unfamiliar with it, the gentlemen had 100 pounds on their body through a combination of a rucksack and then a big sandbag on their shoulders. Together it weighed 100 pounds. The women together weighed 80 pounds. 3, 2, 1, go. Cover 1 mile. Then drop the heavy sandbag. Then you just have a rucksack on. The men's weighed 45, the women's weighed 30. Haul butt for 800 meters. When you're done with that, kick the backpack off, so now you're just slick, you get no weight in your body, and finish with a 1 mile run. Really cool. And I was absolutely astounded. Those beasts on that first mile with 80 pounds on their body for 100 for men and 80 for women, they ran with that much weight on their body. Jeff, and I might mess this up a little bit, but Tia Toomey, I think she came in on that mile with 80 pounds on her body, about 6 months postpartum, at like 9 minutes and 20 seconds. With 80 pounds on her body, 6 months postpartum. A lot of people would be happy to run a 9:20 mile with no external loading on their body and not recovering from a pregnancy. So that was obscene. And then Jeff Adler on the men's side, I think, or maybe it was Yella, I can't remember if it was the gentleman who won the 1 mile run with the 80, but I think the gentleman who won the 1 mile run, I think he came in at like 8:30 or something like that. I don't know if that was Adler or Hosta who won the weighted one, but they came in at like 8 minutes and 30 seconds with 100 pounds on their body. They get faster and faster and faster, and then after all that loading, the heavy 1 mile, dump it to the still heavy 800, then finally do the 1 mile run with no weight in your body. Tia did that final mile, I believe, in 6 minutes and 20 seconds after everything she put her body through previously with the loading. Jeff Adler, after doing the heavy 1 mile, the still heavy 800, and then dumped it and ran that last mile slick, he did that last mile sub 6 minutes. Are you kidding me? It was crazy. So anyway, as you know, we don't blow up the conditioning and the running here at Linchpin. But I was just, as somebody who's a fan of watching people push the pace on runs, especially when you're fatigued, I really liked that event. I liked it a lot. It made me smile. Let's see, then they had, the muscle ups with the heavy back squats, heavy day to high heart rate. That was great. Let's see if any other events just really stuck out to me. event number 4, the 10th inning, which was a play on the hero workout Nate, but it wasn't an AMRAP, but it was still a play on Nate. It was 4 ring muscle-ups, 8 handstand push-ups, and then 12 power snatches, 10 rounds of that. So you've got games athletes out there, okay, doing a power snatch. The gentlemen with 95 pounds on the bar. The women with 65 pounds on the bar. You think that should be a light, laughable loading for them, right? And across the board, that was like a sticky point in the workout, and they weren't doing those unbroken. They were doing very small sets or singles at that loading. So again, everybody across the board fears a light barbell. And if you're just going heavy all the time, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So I liked that event a lot. Let's see. The dual 3, I thought that was really cool. Up and over the logs and stuff, and then the sandbag load, I thought that was awesome. And then, okay, the 1 rep max deadlift. Chandler Smith. Chandler Smith, ladies and gentlemen, deadlifting north of 600 pounds in a collared shirt. He looked fantastic and just went out there and just got to work. He is so fun to watch deadlifting. It was fantastic. And then, what's her name on the female, the women's side of the house? I'm going to go look at the leaderboard right now. I've got too many names rolling through my head. She won the deadlift ladder. Somebody help me out here. Alex Gazan won the deadlift ladder. With, if memory serves, she pulled 4 1/4, right? Alex Gazan. She pulled 425 pounds. And looked good doing it the whole time with regards to technique or loading. Technique or her form. I thought that in that workout, I'd have lost money. I thought Danny Spiegel was just going to take that one, and the other women would have dropped off and she'd just kind of cruise into victory. But then Alex Gazan just kept being right next to her. Hey, put a little more weight in the bar. Do it again. Put a little more weight in the bar. Do it again. And then Spiegel couldn't keep going. And Alex Gazan did, and she pulled 425 pounds. That was crazy. So anyway, that was super cool. All right, one more quick look at the events. That was the deadlift ladder, which was so fun. And then we had, let's see, Sunday, gates open. Yep, we had the box jumps, the handstand, had that big miserable grinder. And then the last event, the cleanup, was a super cool event. That barbell medley with the double unders, with the power cleans, the squat cleans, and the clean and jerks. That was about as good of a final as you could ever hope to have. So Pat Vellner had to hold on to his lead, and he did. You had Adler and Krennikov just fighting back and forth to see who was going to get a silver or a gold medal. Fakowski was still in the fight. That was super fun, super exciting, and it was awesome. And then you had on the women's side, you couldn't have scripted a better final for that. So you had Laura Horvath and Tia Claire Toomey walking into the final event of the Rogue Invitational tied for points. Tied for points in the final workout. And so they just, their strategy was send it. And they put on one heck of a show. And then you had another couple women tied to see who was going to occupy, because whoever won between Tia and Laura would probably be 1 and 2. And then there were 2 other women tied to see who would basically occupy the 3rd position on the leaderboard. And it was Emma Lawson, and I can't remember, was she tied with Gazan or Magawa, one of the 2. But they went in a tie there, and Lawson wound up taking that. And you had Horvath winning, Tia Claire in 2nd place, and Emma Lawson in 3rd. And first of all, congrats to Pat Vellner. This is his 2nd time winning the Invitational. And it's fit as he is. I don't know, since he's not a flashy athlete, it's funny. He can be that amazing and fit and consistent and incredible and still not get the credit that he deserves. But he won. He did amazing. It's fantastic. And then Laura Horvath, it was one of those things where she'd won the Invitational previously, she'd won the games, But what did everyone have in their mind? Tia wasn't there. Is that why you won? Did you win because Tia wasn't there? What would happen if she was there? And so now Tia showed up, Laura wins the Invitational, and she should hold her head very high. And I know, I can almost hear it from the interwebs, like, yeah, true, all right, Tia was there, but come on, she was 6 months postpartum, so was she really there at 100%? Great question. Great question. And I don't have the answer to that other than, would Tia have looked a little bit different if she, didn't have a child? I don't know, probably, beats me, but I don't know whether that would have made Tia win, or would it have still been a heck of a fight and Laura still would have won? I don't know. But we finally get to see them compete. And Tia is a ferocious animal. The fact that she was 6 months postpartum, or maybe even a little bit less than that, and she took second place behind Laura Horvath by only 10 points. Wow. Wow. And Emma Lawson is, as we already knew, the real deal. And Emma, if you're watching this or somebody passes it on to you, I will also say that on the Tailgate show, in the premium side of the house there, Emma, you were getting some love and some respect from some titans in the sport. Every time I had Annie Thorsdottir and Katrin Davidsdottir on, who both have won the games twice, they made it a point to say that they were Emma Lawson fans, that they thought that she was the real deal, up-and-coming star, and just really enjoyed watching her compete. So if you're Emma Lawson, or if you're an Emma Lawson fan, that's a pretty cool thing to know, that you've got people like Annie and Katrin that are also fans of watching her throw down. And we didn't get to see Annie Thorsdottir throw down because she's pregnant, with her second child, and that's really cool. So it was great having her on the desk. I think that's about it. I think that's my wrap-up of the 2023 Rogue Invitational. It was a blast. It is hands down such a fun event, and especially the mixture of CrossFit and strongman, and that baseball field is really cool. And if you haven't been, I would highly, highly recommend you try to put it on your radar for next year. So that's it. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll talk later.